This video is brought to you by Knowledge at WP Carey, an online business resource published by the WP Carey School of Business at Arizona State University.
In Beijing recently, Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner encouraged China to work with the U.S. to achieve a new trade relationship, one that fosters a domestic consumer economy in China and a stronger financial system in the U.S. Knowledge at WP Carey recently covered 21st Century Trade Challenges, a conference which gathered business leaders who have experience in China together with experts in law and policy. They discussed trade, China, and the changing world economic order.
The trade with the United States, the trade with the world has grown extremely rapidly over the course of the last 30 years, primarily to a China opening to the world, opening for foreign direct investment, and bringing in new technology, certainly bringing in new management techniques. And this has put a great deal of pressure on manufacturers here in the United States, as well as Europe and other locations in Asia. We are in an economic environment where it is deflationary. Jobs are coming at a premium, and many countries feel that they have been imposed upon by China imports. Now, unfortunately, many do not see the positive side of it. They do not see the cheaper priced product, larger variety of products, yes, and indeed just an availability which has greater depth than ever before. So it has improved the standard of living for many people, not only in the developed world, but the developing world. Everything from microwave ovens to toys and dolls and furniture. So the question is, we have to reach quite quickly as things are moving forward, a basis on which all countries feel that there's more equality in the working relationship. Now, I don't think that anyone has the perfect answer for this, and most likely there is not a perfect answer.
The system at the moment results in an enormous trade surplus in China and enormous trade deficits elsewhere around the world, and some of that has to do with the fact that the Chinese market is not fully integrated. Chinese currency is not a convertible currency. Chinese exchange rate is managed, and it's managed to some extent to promote exports from China. And so I think the big question facing the global economic structure in China and its trading partners is how to adjust this imbalance, and how for China to have more domestic consumer-led growth, become less dependent on export-led growth, and how to adjust the exchange rate mechanisms and international currency relationships so that there's a more balanced, stable global economic structure. What we do have to do internationally, particularly at this moment of crisis, is to lead the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, lead the G20, the G7, G8 countries in a direction that gets them focused on. Some countries need to be consuming more domestically, some countries like us need to be producing more, and we need a coordinated global strategy which the U.S. needs to lead.
China makes U.S. consume. Is that model sustainable? I think clearly that's not a sustainable model. Chinese over-save, and in the U.S. we over-consume. So that is something that I think worthy our thinking. That is how you get American consume less, and how you get Chinese consume more, but not at the level that we are, because this earth can't sustain it.
We look at it from a global systemic perspective, and we say, well, enough is enough, and you can only be so rich, and so the United States will have to change our environment so that we aren't just a consumer society, and in fact, resources will need to shift somewhere else. Maybe that's what we start looking at from a global perspective, given the environment. You cannot have that conversation without thinking about, one, what's the impact of people in other countries who are now increasing standards of living, for example. What does that mean? What kind of additional problems does that create? But two, in the United States, from a human perspective, I have to give up my car. Okay, I mean that's really it. And you're asking people in industrialized, in the high-level industrialized countries to reduce their standard of living in the way we're living today. That feels like I'm losing something.
It is a very interesting discussion, and I think different people might have their own solution to it. But I think this is a question that really deserves policy thinking.
So this is why we're having this conference. I think it is a very, very positive event, and that we have some world leaders here, both from the academic world as well as from the commercial world. And hopefully we will be able to take not only suggested possible solutions, but we will be able to take questions, yes, with which maybe the U.S. is concerned about, what will be seen differently in China. Okay, we'll take this conference to Beijing, and then we'll follow on with Washington, D.C.